Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we are diving into the worldwide acclaimed drama Shogun. How did it resonate with the Japanese viewers? In this video, we'll be sharing real Japanese reactions and providing a clear breakdown of how Japanese audiences perceived Shogun. If you have any additional insights, please feel free to share them in the comments below. First, let's take a look at some of the glowing reviews. I'm thinking of subscribing to Disney Plus just to watch this drama. It's been years since I felt this excited about something from Disney. History content like Japan's Sengoku era not only captivates Japanese audiences, but people all around the world. It reminds me of how my motivation dropped in social studies class, except for the Jomon and Sengoku periods. I think only Mr. Sanada, who has been performing imperial dramas for decades, could pull this off. It's truly heartwarming to see Mr. Sanada's value finally recognized worldwide. I feel like various aspects of Japan's accumulated culture are exploding in a positive way. From the popularity of Japanese cuisine to the success of sports athletes, anime, travel, Japan's economic advancements, it's time for the world to deeply understand Japan. The success of this film owes a lot to Yukihiro Sanada being the producer. He brings both the Japanese and foreign perspectives, and I believe it's a huge success with the input of Japanese corrections. Upon closer examination, Disney philosophy shines through in this film. Especially with many Japanese staff involved is significant. The collaboration of overseas staff, detail-oriented creators, and talented VFX staff resulted in the best collaboration. I hope they do a theatrical release. I'm a Japanese living in America. Shogun was a must-watch for Americans, Indians, Europeans, and us Japanese at home. Everyone said it was fantastic. Can't wait for the next part. It's been a while since I watched such a good movie. Thank you. Yukihiro Sanada's performance in The Last Samurai was so powerful that Tom Cruise paled in comparison. If you want to make a realistic samurai film, including mannerisms and intensity, casting Sanada Hiroyuki, Ken Watanabe would be a sure bet. Sanada Hiroyuki also appeared in Chinese films and speaks fluent Chinese. Originally based on a novel about Tokugawa Ieyasu and the Englishman William Adams, also known as Miura Anjin. Learning that Miura Anjin played a significant role in laying the foundation for the 260-year-long Tokugawa shogunate is fascinating. William Adams historically served as a diplomatic advisor to Tokugawa Ieyasu and is credited with building the first Western-style ship in Japan, contributing to the grandeur of the Tokugawa regime. Sanada's Hiroyuki portrayal is truly heartwarming. 30 years ago, he played the Shogun Ashikaga Takauji in the Taiga drama Taiheiki, which depicted an era of warfare led by samurai. And now he portrays the shogun Tokugawa Ieyasu, who brought an end to the era of strife. Ashikaga Takauji was a 14th century Japanese warrior who seized power as the first shogun of the Ashikaga shogunate, helping to end the chaos of the Nanbokucho period. This film showcased the dignity and the demeanor of the samurai beautifully. With the Japanese traditions and behaviors being guided by instructors, it's unlikely that such a samurai film could be made in Japan in recent years. It's been since director Akira Kurosawa having Japanese language as the primary language in a Hollywood film is also a first. I hope Sanada Hiroyuki becomes a director in Hollywood in the future. I feel like Sanada Hiroyuki poured all his dissatisfaction from The Last Samurai into this drama. While I was moved by The Last Samurai, I feel a different atmosphere of Japanese samurai and the Sengoku era throughout this film. Honestly, I thought The Last Samurai was the limit for me personally, but this work surprised me. It's not just an actor, but the reserve of a Japanese actor. Sanada Hiroyuki, I believe this drama will blow away the concept of political correctness, and I hope it serves as a catalyst to end the wandering that began when Hollywood films parted ways with the Chinese capital. I'm from the generation that watched TV drama Shogun when I was in elementary school, but this depth, atmosphere feel more suited for the big screen. Amidst the Western hegemony struggle, I felt Japan's history being one of the stages where history has been changing since the age of exploration. While watching this drama, I pondered over how Japan as a country will continue to navigate in the global society. I believe authentic period dramas presented in the style of Western productions will likely be embraced by the younger generation in Japan. I didn't want to see small-scale sets like those in Japanese productions, with pretty-faced Sengoku warlords resembling Johnny's Jr. members. I wanted authenticity. Just like the game Ghost of Tsushima, I'm truly impressed by how foreign creators meticulously research and create a sense of reality that even Japanese viewers feel no discomfort in. With the Japanese period dramas declining in popularity and TV dramas, including the Taiga dramas, becoming unrecognizable, this drama is truly outstanding. Incidentally, why did Japanese period dramas, which were once flourishing in films and television, decline? The reason lies in the stagnation of content. As regular TV programs gradually disappeared, there was a shortage of actors, directors, screenwriters, and producers specializing in period dramas. Without regular programs, staff working on period dramas couldn't sustain themselves. There was no environment for nurturing talent. This negative spiral continued, and now period dramas are hanging by a thread. In terms of scale, I thought this was the first since director Akira Kurosawa's films. I think what made Kurosawa's period dramas accepted worldwide was his attention to detail and the beauty of each scene. Similarly, this Shogun has exquisite nuances of light and shadow, the beauty of nature, and the realistic sword fights. It's a wonderful piece of work. When I watch reaction videos of Shogun from abroad, I'm surprised to see many foreigners writing detailed comments about Japan's Sengoku period. It seems there are people all over the world who love Japan's Sengoku period, so there's a possibility that period dramas will be produced worldwide. It is becoming commonplace for period drama staff to venture abroad. The AAO chant is really cool in Japan. Kids use it to cheer themselves on during sports festivals, encouraging each other to run faster. The way this chant is used in Shogun during life or death situations conveys the determination and resolve of the samurai. Just this chant alone makes it worth watching. Since Sanada Hiroyuki also portrayed the Shogun Ashikaga Takauji in the Taiga drama, there's no sense of incongruity in his role. Since Sanada portrayed both the founder of the Edo shogunate and the founder of the Ashikaga shogunate, the only one left is the founder of the Kamakura shogunate. Minamoto no Yoritomo, his past work, Taiheki, was excellent. To this day, the image of the historical figure Ashikaga Takauji is still synonymous with Sanada Hiroyuki. Incidentally, Minamoto no Yoritomo united the Genji clan with overwhelming leadership and achieved the downfall of the rival Heike clan. He also seized political power from the imperial court and established a warrior government. He was a superbly handsome and intelligent and martially skilled superheroic shogun. Even in a short PV, the visuals alone encompass depth, profundity, and the world of wabi-sabi. It seems like there's a restrained entertainment in the latest work, including well-balanced camera work, truly remarkable. Since Kurosawa's films have influenced the world, I also considered influences from Inoue Takehiko's manga, Vagabond, and the video game Ghost of Tsushima for this shogun. The presence of high-ranking samurai as the protagonist aside, it's fascinating to see scenes from the era portrayed with the foreigners and the interpreters like Mariko present as ordinary, not even flinching at concepts like the roundness of the earth. Depictions like Christian daimyos practicing their faith for trade benefits make me appreciate how the drama captures the actual atmosphere of the time. It's groundbreaking to see a pair of drama delving into the truth of the Society of Jesus. It seems the Sanada has received an offer to appear in the movie Ghost of Tsushima. I hope this becomes a stepping stone for more Japanese actors to go abroad. The attention to detail in each costume is incredible. The meticulous design of kimonos tailored to fit each actor's role feels like a work of art. It's astounding that the costume supervisors is American. Their in-depth study of Japanese kimono is truly commendable. By the way, creating a kimono requires advanced skills. Kimonos are characterized by delicate fabrics and designs, and traditional techniques are essential. The production of kimonos involves various processes such as dyeing, cutting, and sewing. Especially for traditional kimonos, intricate work by skilled artisans is necessary, requiring years of experience and expertise. The production process involves about 20 steps and takes 1 or 2 months. If you have a deep knowledge of Japanese history, you enjoy the background, like Tokugawa Ieyasu's caution toward the Society of Jesus. It's not entirely fiction. It includes complex elements such as the conflict between Catholicism and English Protestantism, namely the Anglo-Spanish War, and the script adhering to historical facts, adding significant weight. The Anglo-Spanish War was a period of intermittent conflict without a formal declaration of war between the Habsburg Spain and England. The Shimabara Rebellion, where the shogunate implemented a resettlement policy due to excessive killing of villagers, might be suitable for Hollywood production. I think the samurai of the Sengoku period were even more impressive than what many modern Japanese people believe. By the way, the Shimabara Rebellion was a peasant uprising that occurred in the early 17th century in Japan. Peasants, resentful of persecution and heavy taxation targeting Christians, rose up in arms in the Shimabara and Amakusa regions, engaging in fierce battles with the shogunate forces. Eventually, the shogunate suppressed the rebellion. This uprising symbolized the oppression of Christians in Japan and had a widespread impact. There was even a Christian samurai who played a significant role in this rebellion. Given the similar historical backdrop, I believe it could also be adapted into a movie much like Shogun. It has received nearly 100 points on the movie review site Rotten Tomatoes. Although I've only seen a bit of the drama's beginning, I wished it would convey the historical fact that behind Japan's anti-foreigner actions, 50,000 Japanese people were sold as slaves during the process of Christian propagation. prompting a furious Toyotomi Hideyoshi to enforce the ban on Christianity. When Hideyoshi visited Kitakyushu and learned of this, he brought back 25,000 Japanese people whose whereabouts were known. Past shoguns have been turned into romantic dramas, which doesn't reflect the reality of Japan's Sengoku period at all. They are filled only with romance between the protagonist and the heroine. Political discussions are merely narrated, and even the Battle of Sekigahara ends with narration. So I had always mistakenly thought Shogun was based on a romance novel. However, after watching the trailer for this new adaptation, I realized there's a less emphasis on romance and more on politics, intrigue, and strategy. Depicting the true essence of the original, the art, writing, and the words and the actions of the characters authentically depict the Sengoku period. The sword fights feel seamless. It feels like immersing into the Azuchi Momoyama period. I doubt Japan can produce period dramas of this caliber anymore. By the way, Matsumura Kunio's review, I believe this work serves as a grand finale in Sanada's career. It feels like the history of Japanese period dramas might undergo a significant change. With Sanada Hiroyuki as a producer, Japanese actors will increasingly go abroad. Plus, they've invested a lot in production, and shooting abroad gives it a grand and a powerful scale. However, since the theme is the Battle of Sekigahara, I don't think the ocean scenes are necessary. But considering the role of Miura Anjin, I see why those scenes are essential. Sanada Hiroyuki's current age aligns well with the Tokugawa Ieyasu's. With his muscular physique, Sanada Hiroyuki's portrayal of Tokugawa Ieyasu feels perfect. Also, the portrayal of the five magistrates as genuinely villainous bureaucrats, and Sanada Hiroyuki's Tokugawa Ieyasu enduring their intense interrogation moved me deeply. Lastly, it depicts the geopolitical situation of the time, divided between the Catholic and Protestant factions, which was not often seen in Japanese Sengoku period works before. I haven't seen many works that pay attention to these aspects until now. Next, I'll introduce some slightly negative opinions from Japanese viewers. I watched this drama, but I stopped after the first episode because the story was too brutal and ruthless due to the power struggles of the Sengoku period. Wouldn't foreigners think Japanese people are terrifying, even though it's about a few powerful figures? I prefer movies like those depicting the earnest lives of people living in harsh times, like those by Shuhei Fujisawa. Seeing people being boiled alive shocked me. Western torture methods were brutal too. I'll try not to mind it. This movie just wasn't for me. They are putting in a lot of effort, but it still feels Western. It's clearly set in Japan, but it doesn't quite feel Japanese. It felt like watching fantasy. If you're used to Japanese Sengoku period dramas, there's something indescribable but unnatural about it. This is a harsh opinion. What do you all think? Hollywood has often cast Chinese or Korean actors to play Japanese roles, and the production teams involved often seemed to lack an understanding of Japan or Japanese people. So even if they were popular overseas, many movies felt B-grade or below to Japanese audiences due to their lack of realism. I think there's a significance in going against the current trend of Hollywood and American ideologies. Sonny Chiba was the first to venture into America, followed by Sanada Hiroyuki, who had been active in the Japan Action Club (JAC) run by Chiba. But in Japanese dramas and movies, Sanada Hiroyuki, who performed action scenes and fights with a stuntman. Even adapted his stage name from the first letter of Sonny Chiba's real name. A renowned fight choreographer who appeared in The Last Samurai has unfortunately passed away. So someone else must have been in charge of the action scenes for this Shogun. The misconception, especially among foreigners, about samurai and the ninjas is something that has been conveyed incorrectly. But I think it would be good to dispel such misunderstandings. I also agree that Japan's history is often misrepresented. What do you think? I'd like to see a movie based on the true story of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who stopped not just Christian persecution, but also the enslavement of Japanese people. It's the truth that Hideyoshi considered even rescuing Japanese people who were taken as slaves. I've heard that 50,000 Japanese people, mostly women, were taken overseas in the slave trade by the Portuguese. I'm moved by Sanada Hiroyuki's extraordinary efforts, which have made this the first truly authentic American-made period drama. However, due to the graphic depictions from the original story, there are many images that leave a lasting impression of Japanese cruelty, which worries me as it may reinforce preconceptions behind Japan's anti-foreigner actions. There is the historical fact of 50,000 Japanese people being sold as slaves due to Christian missionaries, and I really want this to be conveyed. I'm a bit concerned about some of the armor, which seems to be in the style of the Nambokucho or Kamakura periods. For instance, Tokugawa Ieyasu preferred armor covered in bear fur, presenting a wild appearance. This armor was called Kumage ue kuroi to odoshi guzoku. The large horns protruding from the side to the top of the helmet were made of Paruania wood coated with black lacquer inspired by buffalo horns. Japanese TV period dramas are completely gone. There's a barely NHK's Tiger drama left, but even that sometimes undergoes too much tampering or gets a weird Chinese-style flavor. The lack of sincerity and anticipation for history from the production side is too apparent. It's shallow, not just period dramas. Japanese TV in general has too many shallow and boring programs. It's a bit disappointing that they couldn't produce in Japan, but I'm really happy about it. Whether it's The Last Samurai, Ghost of Tsushima, or others, I wonder why foreigners seem to deeply understand Japan's medieval spiritual world. It's mysterious. The line from Hosoka Garasha, 知り抜くべき時知りてこそ、世の中の花も花なれ、人も人なれ, is beautiful. This means understanding the transient nature of the world is truly understand life. Flowers are just flowers, and the people are just people. In Japan, the convenience of major talent agencies takes top priority, and acting skills and casting become secondary. So it's better to have foreign production. Japan is dominated by famous comedians, idols, and journeys, so we need real actors. Even if there is a good piece of work, it could be ruined by casting decisions. I think the casting for NHK's Tiger drama is terrible. Ultimately, I think this Shogun, including the casting, is the best. The story is about Sekigahara, so why the need for a fictional character like Tora-naga Yoshii? I think Tokugawa Ieyasu would have been fine. In response to this, the original author is British, and the original work is not about the real Sengoku period, but a fictional story. Novel itself seems like fiction, and it feels odd to Japanese people. However, I believe Sanada Hiroyuki will handle things correctly, such as kimonos, armor, and manners. Japan no longer has the money or the talent to create period dramas that require luxurious costumes and weapons. We have no choice but to rely on foreign capital. Actually, it's really sad that Japan is losing the skills and the know-how to produce such authentic period dramas. If they were going to use Tokuga Ieyasu's Aoimon Holy Hawk crest as is, then I think it would have been fine to use the character's name as Tokuga Ieyasu too. Changing the names of the historical figures and drama characters might be a measure against complaints because the original source is a novel by an American author. If the protagonist, John Blackthorne's Japanese name is based on Miura Anjin, then maybe it would have been better to arrange Tora-naga Yoshii into Tokuga Ieyasu. Japanese just feels a bit light, huh? It lacks the seriousness of all movie actors. So even though the visuals are serious, the lines inevitably stand out. English has more atmosphere. Sanada might be better in English. Almost everything is meticulous and wonderful, but in terms of the architectural historical accuracy, it's a bit disappointing that the palace ceiling isn't covered and the beams are exposed. Maybe they lacked knowledge in that area. What do you all think? From the comments uprising by Japanese people, I think there were some sharp insights in the parts that differ from actual history. Please everyone, if you know anything about the Shogun, please share it in the comments. By the way, I have a lot of history explanations in my videos. Please subscribe if you're interested. Well, chillax.